My beloved child, this message has reached you at a very important moment. Don't skip. Listen carefully. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. There is someone whose thoughts have been revolving around you more than you realize. Someone who has spent countless nights replaying memories, imagining conversations, and wondering what the future might look like if they finally stopped holding back. For a long time, they remained trapped between fear and desire. But something is changing now. Something powerful. And the step they are preparing to take may shock everyone around them. For months, perhaps even longer, your soulmate has been carrying emotions they rarely reveal. They have tried to remain patient. They have tried to convince themselves that time would provide answers. Yet every attempt to ignore their feelings has only made them stronger. What happened next changed everything because they finally realized that waiting was no longer bringing them peace. The silence that once felt safe now feels unbearable. My beloved child, there comes a moment when a person grows tired of wondering. A moment when the fear of never knowing becomes greater than the fear of taking action. Your soulmate is approaching that exact moment. They are beginning to understand that some opportunities appear only once, and some connections deserve more than silent admiration. They deserve courage. Listen carefully. Recently, your soulmate experienced something that forced them to confront their true feelings. It may have been a dream. It may have been a memory. It may have been an unexpected reminder of you. Whatever it was, it touched their heart deeply. Suddenly, they could no longer pretend that their emotions were temporary. They could no longer convince themselves that this connection would simply disappear with time. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. The bold step they are planning did not happen overnight. It has been forming quietly behind the scenes. Day by day, thought by thought, they have been building the courage to do something they once believed was impossible. Every reflection has brought them closer. Every emotion has strengthened their resolve. Every memory has reminded them why they cannot continue standing still. My beloved child, the most surprising part is that your soulmate is no longer focused on what could go wrong. For so long, fear controlled their decisions. Fear of rejection. Fear of misunderstanding. Fear of vulnerability. But what happened next changed everything because they started imagining what could go right. And that simple shift transformed their entire perspective. They began picturing a future where honesty replaced uncertainty. A future where hidden feelings no longer remained hidden. A future where they finally knew the truth instead of endlessly guessing. The more they imagined that future, the more determined they became. The possibility of clarity started feeling more valuable than the comfort of silence. My beloved child, there is a growing confidence within them now. It is not loud. It is not reckless. It is quiet but powerful. The kind of confidence that develops when a person finally stops running from their heart. The kind of confidence that appears when someone realizes they have already spent too much time wondering, what if? Stay till the end because the story is approaching a major turning point. Recently, your soulmate made a decision that surprised even themselves. Instead of postponing their emotions, they began preparing for action. They started thinking seriously about how they might approach you. how they might express themselves, how they might bridge the distance that has existed between thought and reality. What happened next changed everything. They realized that the connection means more to them than their fears do. Read that again. The connection means more to them than their fears do. And once a person reaches that realization, everything begins changing. Excuses lose their power. Doubts lose their influence. Courage begins taking control. My beloved child, your soulmate is no longer standing at the beginning of this journey. They are standing at the edge of a breakthrough. Every lesson, every emotional struggle, and every unanswered question has brought them to this moment. A moment where action feels inevitable. A moment where honesty feels necessary. A moment where the future feels worth pursuing. And here is the twist that changes everything. The bold step they are planning is not just about revealing feelings. It is about changing the direction of their life. They are preparing to stop watching from a distance and start participating in the story. They are preparing to replace uncertainty with truth. They are preparing to take a chance on something their heart refuses to forget. Because, my beloved child, your soulmate is planning a bold step toward you. The signs are already appearing. The courage is already growing. The decision is already taking shape. And when they finally act, it will surprise not only you, but even themselves. But what happens after they take that first brave step is the part of the story that no one sees coming. My beloved child, the step your soulmate is preparing to take has become much bigger than they originally imagined. What started as a simple desire to understand their feelings has grown into a powerful need for truth. They are no longer satisfied with wondering. They are no longer content with imagining possibilities from a distance. Listen carefully, because what happened next changed everything. For a long time, your soulmate believed they had plenty of time. They told themselves there was no rush. They convinced themselves that someday, somehow, the right moment would simply appear. But recently, something shifted deep within them. They began realizing that life does not wait forever. Opportunities are precious. Moments pass. And the future is built by the choices people make today, not by the chances they postpone until tomorrow. My beloved child, this realization hit them harder than they expected. Suddenly, all the reasons they had used to delay action started feeling weak. The excuses that once seemed logical no longer made sense. The fears that once appeared overwhelming began shrinking in importance. For the first time, they started seeing hesitation as the real obstacle standing between them and the future they truly wanted. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. There have been nights recently when your soulmate could not stop thinking about you. Nights when memories resurfaced one after another. Nights when they imagined conversations they wished they had already had. The emotions became so strong that ignoring them was no longer possible. Every attempt to move their attention elsewhere only brought them back to the same place, to you. What happened next changed everything. Instead of asking themselves, "Should I take a chance?" they started asking, "What happens if I don't?" The answer was immediate and uncomfortable. If they remained silent, they would continue living with unanswered questions. They would continue wondering what could have happened. They would continue carrying emotions that were never meant to stay hidden forever. My beloved child, that realization created a sense of urgency inside them. Not panic. Not pressure. But purpose. A purpose that has been growing stronger every single day. They are beginning to understand that some opportunities deserve bravery. Some connections deserve effort. And some feelings deserve to be spoken aloud before it becomes too late. Listen carefully. Your soulmate is also discovering something surprising about themselves. They are stronger than they thought. The fears that once controlled them are losing their grip. The doubts that once filled their mind are becoming quieter. In their place is a determination they have never felt before. A determination to stop letting uncertainty decide the future. Stay till the end because the story is reaching an emotional turning point. Recently, they found themselves imagining your reaction if they finally took that bold step. At first, this thought made them nervous. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of focusing on fear, they started focusing on possibility. They began imagining understanding instead of rejection. Connection instead of distance. Hope instead of hesitation. My beloved child, this changes everything because the energy surrounding their decision is shifting. It is no longer driven by desperation. It is driven by clarity. They are not acting because they feel pressured. They are acting because they have finally accepted the truth of their own heart. And once that acceptance happens, moving forward becomes much easier. What happened next changed everything. They stopped viewing vulnerability as a weakness. They started seeing it as courage. They realized that expressing genuine feelings is one of the bravest things a person can do. It requires honesty. It requires trust. It requires faith. And for the first time, they are willing to embrace all three. My beloved child, your soulmate is no longer preparing in secret. Their heart is already moving toward action. The distance between thinking and doing is becoming smaller every day. The emotional walls that once protected them are beginning to fall. The path they feared walking is becoming the path they feel called to follow. And here is the twist that changes everything. The bold step they are planning may happen sooner than even they expect. Because once a heart becomes certain, waiting becomes difficult. Once a person knows what matters most, delay loses its appeal. Once love becomes stronger than fear, action becomes inevitable. Because, my beloved child, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a life-changing decision. A decision that could bring clarity where there has been confusion, honesty where there has been silence, and hope where there has been uncertainty. The courage is building. The moment is approaching. And the move they are preparing to make is far more significant than anyone realizes. But the reason they finally decide to take that step will touch your heart in a way you never expected. My beloved child, the reason your soulmate is finally finding the courage to move forward is far deeper than anyone realizes. This is no longer just about emotions. It is no longer just about curiosity or attraction. It has become about truth. A truth they can no longer ignore, no matter how hard they try. Listen carefully, because what happened next changed everything. For a long time, your soulmate believed they could keep these feelings under control. They thought they could carry them quietly and continue living as if nothing had changed. But the heart has a way of revealing what truly matters. The more they tried to suppress their emotions, the stronger those emotions became. The more they tried to focus elsewhere, the more their thoughts returned to you. Eventually, they reached a realization that left them speechless. My beloved child, they realized that you are no longer just a thought that occasionally crosses their mind. You have become part of their everyday life, even when you are not physically present. They think about things they want to share with you. They imagine conversations they wish they could have. They wonder how you are feeling, what you are experiencing, and whether you ever think about them too. This changes everything because they can no longer pretend the connection is ordinary. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Recently, your soulmate found themselves reflecting on how much this connection has changed them. They notice that they have become more patient, more understanding, more willing to face emotions they once avoided. They began seeing that this journey has transformed them in ways they never expected. And suddenly, they understood that some people enter our lives not only to be loved but also to help us grow. What happened next changed everything. Instead of focusing on the risks involved in taking a bold step, they started focusing on the opportunities. They began asking themselves what beautiful things might happen if they stopped hiding. What possibilities might appear if they finally allowed honesty to lead the way. The answers filled them with hope instead of fear. My beloved child, there is a growing excitement within them now. Not because they know exactly how everything will unfold, but because they finally feel ready to find out. The uncertainty that once felt terrifying is beginning to feel like an adventure. The future that once seemed unclear is beginning to feel full of possibility. Their heart is guiding them toward a decision they can no longer avoid. Listen carefully. One of the biggest changes happening inside them is that they are learning to trust themselves. For so long, they questioned every feeling. They analyzed every emotion. They searched endlessly for certainty. But now they understand that certainty does not always arrive before action. Sometimes certainty grows because of action. Sometimes the answers appear only after a person is brave enough to take the first step. Stay till the end because the story is approaching a major turning point. Your soulmate is beginning to imagine a future where there are no more hidden feelings. A future where conversations happen openly. A future where both hearts have the chance to speak honestly. The more they imagine that future, the more impossible it becomes to remain silent. My beloved child, there have even been moments when they surprised themselves with how serious their thoughts have become. What once felt like a distant dream now feels like something worth pursuing. What once seemed impossible now feels achievable. Every day, the idea of taking that bold step becomes less frightening and more necessary. What happened next changed everything. They realized that the greatest risk is not being vulnerable. The greatest risk is allowing fear to prevent them from discovering what could have been. That realization removed one of the final barriers standing in their way. It gave them a level of courage they have never experienced before. My beloved child, your soulmate is no longer preparing for a possibility. They are preparing for a reality. Their heart has made a choice, even if their actions are still catching up. The emotional distance between intention and action is shrinking rapidly. Every day brings them closer to the moment they have been imagining for so long. And here is the twist that changes everything. The bold step they are planning is not only about changing their future, it is about changing yours as well. Because once they take action, the entire dynamic of this connection begins to shift. Silence can no longer hide the truth. Distance can no longer protect uncertainty. Everything starts moving toward clarity. Because, my beloved child, your soulmate is closer than ever to taking that brave leap of faith. The fears that once held them back are losing their power. The courage they have been building is becoming unstoppable. And the closer they get to that moment, the more they realize that this connection is worth every risk. But what happens when they finally decide there is no reason left to wait may surprise everyone involved. My beloved child, your soulmate is now standing at a place they never thought they would reach. The hesitation that once controlled them is fading. The uncertainty that once kept them awake at night is slowly losing its power. Something inside them has changed, and there is no turning back. Listen carefully, because what happened next changed everything. For a long time, they believed they needed the perfect moment before taking action. They wanted the perfect words, the perfect timing, and the perfect circumstances. But recently, they discovered something important. Perfect moments rarely appear on their own. They are created by courage. They are created when someone decides that what they feel is more important than the fear holding them back. My beloved child, this realization has been growing stronger every day. Your soulmate has started looking at this connection with fresh eyes. Instead of seeing obstacles, they are seeing opportunities. Instead of focusing on what might go wrong, they are focusing on what might finally go right. This changes everything because their energy is no longer trapped in doubt. It is moving toward action. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. There have been moments recently when your soulmate felt an almost overwhelming urge to reach out, speak up, or make their intentions known. At first, they tried to ignore it. They told themselves to wait a little longer. But every time they postponed it, the feeling returned even stronger. It was as though their heart was refusing to stay silent any longer. What happened next changed everything. They began realizing that this connection has become one of the most meaningful parts of their emotional journey. It has taught them patience when they wanted immediate answers. It has taught them courage when fear felt easier. Most importantly, it has taught them that some people are worth taking a chance on, even when the outcome remains uncertain. My beloved child, your soulmate is also starting to understand that vulnerability is not something to avoid. It is something to embrace. Every meaningful relationship requires it. Every genuine connection grows because of it. And the more they accept this truth, the more prepared they become to take the bold step that has been on their mind for so long. Listen carefully. The emotional walls they built around themselves are beginning to crumble. The protective barriers that once seemed necessary are becoming impossible to maintain. Why? Because love has a way of demanding honesty. It has a way of pushing people toward truth, even when that truth feels intimidating. Your soulmate is experiencing that reality right now. Stay till the end because the story is approaching its biggest turning point yet. Recently, they imagined what life would look like if they never took action. They imagined years passing while they continued wondering what could have happened. The thought unsettled them deeply. In that moment, they understood that regret would hurt far more than vulnerability ever could. My beloved child, that realization became a powerful source of motivation. It helped them see that the greatest risk is not speaking up, it is staying silent forever. And once they understood that, many of their fears began disappearing. The future suddenly looked different. Brighter. More hopeful. More full of possibility than ever before. What happened next changed everything. They stopped asking whether they were ready. Instead, they started asking how they wanted to move forward. That shift may seem small, but it is enormous. It means the decision has already been made in their heart. Now they are simply finding the best way to bring that decision into reality. My beloved child, your soulmate is closer than ever to crossing the line between dreaming and doing. Every lesson, every memory, every emotional struggle has prepared them for this moment. They have grown stronger than their fears. They have become more confident than their doubts. They have finally reached a place where hope is leading the way. And here is the twist that changes everything. The bold step they are planning is no longer just an idea. It is becoming a real possibility. The signs are aligning. The courage is building. The timing is approaching. Very soon, they may decide that waiting serves no purpose anymore and that the only thing left to do is follow their heart. Because, my beloved child, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a breakthrough. A breakthrough where silence gives way to honesty, where uncertainty gives way to clarity, and where hidden emotions finally find a voice. The step they are preparing to take could open a completely new chapter for both of you. And the beautiful outcome waiting on the other side of that courage is the part of the story that makes every challenge worthwhile. My beloved child, we have finally reached the last chapter of this journey, and it carries the beautiful ending that has been quietly unfolding behind the scenes all along. If you have stayed until this moment, then listen carefully. The story was never truly about fear, hesitation, or uncertainty. It was about courage. It was about a heart learning to trust itself. It was about someone discovering that love is worth taking a chance on. And what happened next changed everything. After all the waiting, all the overthinking, and all the silent emotions, your soulmate finally made the choice they had been avoiding for so long. They stopped asking themselves whether they should take a bold step and simply decided to follow their heart. The moment they made that decision, a tremendous weight lifted from their shoulders. For the first time in a very long time, they felt free. My beloved child, the beautiful truth is that courage always creates movement. The moment they chose honesty over fear, doors that once seemed closed began opening. Conversations became easier. Understanding became deeper. The emotional distance that once felt impossible to cross suddenly became much smaller than either of you imagined. This changes everything because genuine connections thrive when truth is finally allowed to breathe. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. The bold step they took did not bring the disaster their fears had predicted. It brought clarity. It brought relief. It brought a sense of peace that only comes when a person stops hiding from what they truly feel. Whether their voice trembled or their heart raced did not matter. What mattered was that they finally allowed their truth to be heard. What happened next changed everything. Instead of carrying unanswered questions, they began receiving real answers. Instead of living inside endless possibilities, they started creating real experiences. The future was no longer something they only imagined. It became something they could actively build. And that shift transformed the entire connection. My beloved child, one of the greatest surprises was discovering that vulnerability did not make them weaker. It made them stronger. Every fear they faced increased their confidence. Every honest conversation deepened their understanding. Every step forward reminded them that the things we fear most often become the things that help us grow the most. As time passed, they began seeing how every challenge on this journey had prepared them for this moment. The waiting taught patience. The uncertainty taught faith. The emotional struggles taught resilience. Looking back, they realized that nothing had been wasted. Every experience had shaped them into the person capable of taking that brave step. Stay till the end because this is the message your heart needs to hear. Sometimes the miracle is not that everything becomes perfect overnight. The miracle is that two people stop allowing fear to control the story. The miracle is that honesty replaces silence. The miracle is that hope becomes stronger than doubt. That is exactly what happened here. My beloved child, the beautiful ending is this: your soulmate discovered that the connection was worth believing in. They discovered that love becomes stronger when it is nurtured with honesty. They discovered that courage creates opportunities fear never can. Most importantly, they discovered that taking one brave step can change the direction of an entire future. The person who once hesitated now moves forward with confidence. The person who once stayed silent now speaks with sincerity. The person who once feared the unknown now embraces the possibilities ahead. And because of that transformation, a new chapter begins, one built on trust, understanding, and genuine emotional connection. So let this final message stay with you, my beloved child. The bold step was taken. The truth was spoken. The walls came down. The fears faded. And in their place came peace, clarity, and hope. What once seemed impossible became possible. What once seemed distant moved closer. And what once existed only in dreams finally found its way into reality. The story ends with open hearts, brighter tomorrows, and the quiet certainty that some connections are worth every lesson they require. Your soulmate found the courage they needed. The future opened before them. And love, patient and powerful, guided both hearts exactly where they were meant to be. And that, my beloved child, is the beautiful ending that was waiting for you from the very beginning.